right. Well, good evening. How are you tonight? Doing well? All right. Well, I hope you're doing well tonight. I know that we had a great number of people register for this evening, and many of them are not able to be here with us in person, but you're tuning in hopefully right now on either Facebook or YouTube. And I see Wesley back there with our association, so share it over to the JBA site if you can, so we can get it out as many sites as possible. This is an annual gathering, and yet it's different this year than it's ever been, as is everything you've been doing in your church for the last year is different this year than it's ever been. And normally we will gather and have food and have a lot of different things going on, but tonight, due to some of the restrictions and to make it as safe and accessible as possible for the most people, we are gathering as we are. So I thank you for being here. I know we have pastors in the room, we have church planters in the room, we have church members of different churches and different groups, and you're here and as well watching online. If what I was looking at in some of our metrics, I know we probably have some folks from Canada joining us online and some folks from the West Coast and from other areas around the nation, just to see what God is doing in Jacksonville regarding church planting, and also because they've been impacted by what God is doing in Jacksonville through church planting. My name is David Tarkington. I am the pastor here at First Baptist Church of Orange Park, where we're hosting it this evening, but I'm also the Expand Team Champion for the Jacksonville Baptist Association. I was asked to serve in that role for a 3-year term, I think about 9 years ago, and if you do the math, it just keeps going on and on and on, but it's good. And we have a great network of pastors and church planters in our, well, let's just call everybody pastors, planters. You're a pastor. You know, you're pastoring a plant, you're pastoring a church. You may be on the launching time of it. Maybe you've launched and you're just now meeting, but or maybe you've met for quite some time. But God has put you in that role for His glory and for the good of those that gather in your church, as well as those in your community. And so we're excited about what God is doing through church planting in our city and beyond. The church planting showcase, a little different tonight, is that we want it to be a night of worship, a night of encouragement, and just to kind of not necessarily reset, but to remind us that in all that's been going on in the last year, where all the rules have changed and every calendar's been erased and things have been rebooted and reshifted and started over, that God is not surprised. God is sovereign over all, and He is still at work in saving individuals and redeeming them. And I believe that He has been and is going to continue to use churches for that. That's His strategy. That's what He set in place, and new churches in our city and beyond. So we have a number of greetings tonight we want to bring to you from some special friends as well. And we're just going to jump right in on this. First of all, as a part of the Florida Baptist Convention and the Send Network and Southern Baptist, we have resources that I don't want to say are the envy of others, but we have more. I would say we probably have more resources for church planting and pastors than just about anyone else out there. And we are thankful for Send Network, North American Mission Board, and the work that's being done there. James Peoples is down here in the front. And James, if you don't know James Peoples and you're a church planter in our state and in our city, or a legacy church pastor, you need to get to know James. James is your contact for any questions you have regarding the Send Network and the resources available and the assessments and the cohorts and all of that kind of funnels through James and our association. We lock arms with the Send Network and with James Peoples, and we do much work there. You know that Kevin Ezell is the president of the North American Mission Board, and we were able to contact him a few weeks back, and he has sent us a greeting for you tonight and for the city of Jacksonville and churches. So we'd like to show this greeting, and then I have another one I want to share with you right after that.
Hello, Jacksonville Baptist. I'm Kevin Ezell, president of the North American Mission Board, and I am so happy to share a brief word of greeting with you today as you gather to celebrate and lift up church planting in your area. Of course, what you're focusing on is my heartbeat. At NAM, we help Southern Baptists plant churches everywhere for everyone. And it's so encouraging for me to see gatherings like this one that you're having today. First, to the church planters there, I want to express my deep appreciation for the ministry you have and the sacrifices you make. We care deeply about each one of you and regularly lift you up in prayer. We are so thankful for how you minister on the front lines. And to the churches that are already involved with us and are supporting church plants, Thank you, thank you, thank you. Nothing will transform North America more than thousands of new church plants that are each proclaiming the gospel and taking Jesus to places in need. There may be some there today who aren't personally involved in church planting. To you, I would just like to ask that you keep an open heart and an open mind to how God might be leading you and your church to greater involvement in this area. I want to say thank you especially to Pastor David and Orange Park Baptist as they host you today. I am so grateful for how this church is impacting Florida for Christ. And of course, their missions involvement reaches throughout North America and the world. To each of you, I also want to say thanks for how you give. Your faithfulness through the cooperative program and the Annie Armstrong Easter offering make all this ministry possible. When Southern Baptists come together, the impact is incredible. My prayer for you during this summit is that God will guide and direct your gathering and that you will leave with a renewed vision, a refreshed spirit, and a refocused passion for reaching the lost for Him.
And I'm so grateful for what the Send Network and North American Mission Board is doing, and with the fact that we're all able to be together tonight, and the way that we are celebrating church planting in our region. Church planting is not new. Many of you have been a part of the story for a long time, but I want to talk about this and talk to you that are watching online. I know that I have members of our church that are joining us online, and members of your churches are likely doing the same. And perhaps there are a number of legacy pastors. A legacy church, that's kind of a new term. It's really just means an old church. I don't know legacy. It just sounds so much better. So this is an older church. We've been here for a few decades, and yet God is using us, and I know that He's using many of our churches in Jacksonville and beyond to raise up new church planters to send out in the city and really throughout the world. Dr. Tommy Green is our Executive Director Treasurer for the Florida Baptist Convention, and he has a heart for pastors. He has a heart for church planters and for churches in our state. And we're seeing great things happening in the state of Florida. In fact, I believe it was really just about a week ago, last Tuesday, we all gathered in Orlando for a time of celebration and focusing on the challenges before us. And it is so encouraging as we were sitting at First Baptist Orlando and pastors and churches represented throughout the state of Florida that are together on mission for the sake of the gospel. It's just a great reminder that you're not alone. Sometimes you might feel like you are, but you're not alone. And God has placed us together, I believe, for His glory. Dr. Green offers us a word of greeting as well, and I'm so thankful that he was able to do this. These men wanted to be here tonight. They couldn't, so they sent us this. So I want you to watch the video greeting from Dr. Tommy Green.
How exciting it is that you're gathering together for a conference dealing with church planting. Indeed, that is at the very heart of who we are as we seek to multiply the work of the kingdom across the state of Florida and even across our nation and to the nations. We're grateful that church planting is one of the benchmarks of Challenge 2025, and the Jacksonville Baptist Association, you are a vital part of fulfilling that very vision that God has given us across our state to plant churches. I know that many of you are already actively planting churches. Others are seeking to discern what God would lead them to do in the days ahead. And we thank you in Jacksonville for your heart toward planting churches and seeing new works begin not only across this region, but across our state and even beyond. We're grateful that we can partner with you through the Florida Baptist Convention and through the North American Mission Board. Send Network Florida is designed to create a 4-year partnership with a sending church as it launches, as it sends out a church to be planted. And we're grateful that we can come beside you with financial assistance, that we can come beside you in church planter care. And we're grateful for the vital partnership that we have with the local association, and they're here in Jacksonville with Bob Bumgarner. We're thankful for his leadership, and we're so excited that even through this weekend that God is going to elevate in even a greater way the zeal and the desire to plant churches across our state, and know that the partnership with the local church, with the local association, with the state convention, and with the North American Mission Board is vital as we seek to come together to do great things for our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So thank you for your heart to plant churches.
I like what Tommy Green reminds us and Bob reminds us and those in our association continually do. It's not the North American Mission Board that plants churches. It's not the state convention that plants churches. The Southern Baptist Convention doesn't really plant churches. It's churches that plant churches. And so as God raises up church planters within our congregations, and then we have the joy and the privilege of sending these planters out to do new works. And sometimes God will raise up individuals. I'm seeing some of the representation here from some church plants in our own city, that God has raised up families and individuals to say, I'm not a planter. I don't think I want to be the associate planter, but I want to be in on what God is doing. And we've seen people join in the journey by being a part of that. And that may be what's happening in some of the churches that are joining us tonight online. It may be what God's stirring up even in the hearts of those of some that are here this evening. And I know that and our church members, I've told them, I said, we've sent church planters to New York City. We've been a part of a story with others in Orlando, and some just a new church planter in our church family now that'll be planting a church in the city of Jacksonville. And I had to kind of work my way to this point, and I knew it was the right thing to do, but I finally am able to say it out loud with confidence to church members with that First Baptist Church of Orange Park in our fellowship, that I know God is calling some of our folks to move, to join in that journey, and to go help plant new works. Now, that sounds like, well, that's really easy to say. No, you got to understand what I'm saying. Every church has people they want to move, but I'm telling you, we are telling people that we would like to stay, that we are giving you permission to go and join in the calling to help do the work that God has called you, because we believe God has called every one of us to this story of kingdom expansion. Now, let me just share this with you briefly, and then we're going to get into some great time of music tonight and a great word from our guest, and Bob's going to come up and share with us in just a moment. It was a number of years ago, and when church planting is not really new, but it really had a newer push and a stronger emphasis. A number of years ago, really, Send Network kind of put that out there. Our association, we joined in on that journey. And some of you in the room and some of you watching may remember when our association had an intentional and strategic partnership with the city of Toronto. We entered into that partnership for, I think it was 3 years, and a number of our churches are continuing that relationship with church planters in that city. And just like we, as a network, partnered in Toronto, some of our JBA churches partnered with specific churches in Miami and in New Orleans and in Atlanta and other Send cities as they were designated at the time. But it hit me as we were putting this together, and I was talking to Bob about this as we were thinking about this evening. We know that Jacksonville, Clay County, St. Johns County, Nassau, the region around us, that First Coast area, the beaches and all of that, we have more and more people moving in. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but the lostness in our region is there, and it seems to be expanding. So what does God do? He puts churches where people are. And we're going to see more churches in Jacksonville. And we're also we want to just make sure you understand that if your church or you're a church plant who's already planting, your partnership in cities outside of Jacksonville is making a kingdom impact as well. And sometimes we don't see that immediately. And sometimes you may not see it until we're in heaven together and, I don't know, somebody starts singing thank you, I guess. I don't know. But that story as it kind of comes together. So those years in Toronto, I asked some of our church planters there if they could just give us an update of what's going on. I contacted some other church planters that are one in Orlando and one that's in New York City that are sponsored or sent or partnered with churches in Jacksonville. And then I've also asked one of our local church planters, one of your brothers that serves here in the city that just recently launched, about the impact of being a part of a family of churches committed to serve together, work together, and to be together on this journey. So there's a number of clips. We're just going to run through them. And they introduce themselves, but I think we just need reminding that those trips to Toronto and those partnerships with others and that training that's happening in our city is still making a difference. So enjoy these stories.
Hey Jacksonville churches, my name is Jordan Floro, and my family and I are planting a church here in Sunnyside, Queens called Gospel City Fellowship. We're a church that is rooted in the gospel, that's for the city and a fellowship of believers. And we are so grateful for you and your church's partnership with us. You see, we could not do what we're called to do here without the generous partnership of so many churches right there in Jacksonville who have come alongside us along this journey to pray for us, to partner with us financially, to potentially send up teams to work with us. And we are so grateful for you. We moved up here in October, and God has already opened up so many doors for us for ministry here in the city. And we're excited to see what He does in the near future to bring people who are far from Him close to Him through the gospel of Jesus Christ. And we could not do that without you. So as you gather and celebrate what God is doing in the world of church planting, know that we're here in New York City thinking of you, praying for you, and so grateful for you and your partnership with us. We hope that you have a great night worshiping together and look forward to seeing what God does in Jacksonville, here in New York City, and throughout the world because of your partnership. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Hey, Jacksonville, this is Pastor Cam Triggs, lead pastor of Grace Alive. I'm with my son, Cameron Triggs II. And we just want to say thank you to all the Jacksonville churches that support our work here in Orlando. As many of you guys know, over and over again, I've said these statistics. Even being in the state of Florida, Orlando's 9th most unchurched region, number 6 most unchurched, according to a Bumgarner research study a while ago. The growth here is crazy. We're always ranking in, top 5 fastest growing cities. It's projected that by 2030, there'll be about 5.2 million people here in the metro area. And still, to know the statistics of all the people that are lost here in our city is tragic. But we've been able to plant a gospel-centered multi-ethnic church because of faithful churches and even networks like you. Special thanks to all of our Jacksonville partners that continue to hold the rope while we plant a church here in the happiest place in the world where only the gospel can continue to flourish. And we believe that Jesus Christ, the Lamb slain, is greater than the mouse. God bless you guys. Enjoy your night.
Hi, my name is Matt Hess, and this is my son, Gavin.
Hi.
We want to come to you today from Toronto, Ontario, and say thank you so much, Jacksonville Baptist Association, for your continued partnership with us here. In the summer of 2012, our family moved from Memphis, Tennessee to start a church. And through God's grace and incredible partners like yourselves, we've seen multiple churches started. I now have the privilege to serve as a church planting catalyst with the North American Mission Board and SIN Toronto. And we are seeing God do so many amazing, incredible things. And it's because of your generosity and many others. We hope you have an incredible weekend. And we just want to say,
thank you for partnering with us.
thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
Hey everybody, my name is Jason McGibbon and I pastor the Hamilton Fellowships, which is in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, just on the outskirts of the Greater Toronto area, and have benefited so much from the relationship with the Jacksonville Baptist Association and SIN Toronto over the years. I wanted to have a chance to say thank you, and in particular to the churches that have been such great partners with us over the year. Murray Hill was our very first partner, and the relationships, not only just the official partnership, but the encouragement and relational encouragement to myself, my family, and our church as a whole in those early years is amazing. San Jose, who even sent an intern to serve with us for a season. Our ongoing relationship with Southside, which continues to be a great encouragement to us, and we're just so thankful for their provision, for their prayer, and the people that they've sent over the years. Even now we have a family, the Jimenez family, who were once part of First Baptist Orange Park, who have come to serve the greater network. They serve with SIN Toronto and Toronto Church Planting, supporting all of the pastors and planters, but who call Hamilton Fellowships their home congregation. We love having them. So we just have been so directly blessed. We wanted to say thanks, your heart for mission and planting, and in particular to those churches who have partnered directly with us, have been such an encouragement, and we really couldn't have done it without you, and ongoing, can't do it without your continued support and encouragement. So thanks so much.
Hey Jacksonville, greetings from Toronto. My name is Brett Porter and I'm the SIN Network City Missionary here. And David asked me to give a quick greeting, and I was once again overwhelmed by all that God has done in and through the partnership of the JBA and SIN Toronto. Did you know that over 20 churches over the last several years have partnered intentionally with churches here in our city? Let me give you a picture of what you've been a part of. You see two maps here, one of 2,000 of our Sin Network churches and one of 2020 of our Sin Network churches. And you can see how God has been at work. As you join together for your church planting showcase, I want you to take a minute to celebrate what God has done and is doing in and through you, JBA. And I also pray that it is a time of encouragement and spurs you along as you continue to take incredibly bold faith risks to take the gospel to the world, that every person gets to discover Jesus Christ. Thank you for your partnership, and have an incredible evening tonight celebrating who God is and how he is moving among church planting.
Joel Stuckey, pastor of the City Church at Riverside. The Jacksonville Baptist Association has been invaluable in the planting of the City Church at Riverside, as well as in my personal development as a pastor and in my spiritual growth. The cohort of local church planters provided guidance, education, and friendships that will last a lifetime. The church planter mentor that was assigned to me by the JBA has become a trusted advisor on both spiritual and practical matters. Being a part of the JBA network links me to other local pastors and their churches, and I'm so grateful for those connections. Thanks so much, JBA.
Well, those are some great, that's worth clapping for, absolutely. If we had another 2 or 3 hours, we could have just done video after video after video, because the impact has been so incredible. I've never talked to a pastor of a church that is intentionally partnered with as a sending church or a supporting church that has said, that was a waste of time. We should never have done that. What happens in the churches that end up in the sending story, they find growth, not necessarily numerical growth, but definitely health and spiritual growth within their own church, as they are a part of a story much bigger. We are so committed to you as pastors, as church planters, to make sure that you know that you're not on your own doing this, and that as God has called you to that, we want to offer all the resources and all the help we can. One of those ways is just through partnerships of local ministries. When you came in tonight, you may have seen the table for Shepherd's Help. And Jim and Sandra Parrish are back here in the back. And they have a table out front, and I want to make sure you didn't miss this. If you're a pastor, they have a couple of free books for you. And if you're a pastor, I know there's no such thing as a bad free book. So you need a book. Everybody, and I know your wives may be going, do you really need another book? So here, let me just go ahead and declare this, and you can quote me. Yes, you need more books and you need more coffee mugs. That's what we know we need, and that's how it is. And so as we provide new coffee mugs, not tonight, you don't get one tonight, but you do get a free book. And I also want to take this time to introduce our guest speaker, and then Bob Bumgarner is going to come and share just a word, and then we're going to begin to worship in song together. Jared Wilson is our speaker this evening, and many of you have mentioned when we announced that Jared agreed and could make it work on his schedule to speak tonight, how you have been so encouraged by his writing and maybe his podcasting, and you've heard him preach personally, and you're going to be blessed tonight with the word that God has given him. I know you will be. He has been a blessing to us already here at our church this morning, and again, through all the books and all the resources that God has used him to make available to pastors and Christians of all walks. So there are a number of books that he has written. I posted earlier today that he's coming, and one of my friends on Facebook just commented that he preached here this morning. He said in his hotel room this afternoon, he's probably already written 2 more books. So he writes books like that. I said, yeah, he's written 2 more books and done 3 podcasts. It's an amazing thing how he did that. But his newest book is Gospel Driven Ministry. And some of you, like our church, we've kind of read through Gospel Driven Church, but this is not just a new cover on an old book. This is a totally new book, and it's a needed book. And that book is actually not available till Tuesday to the public. So you may have pre-ordered it on Amazon or elsewhere, but for pastors and church planters in the room tonight, you should have received your free copy of the book. If not, when we dismiss, they're in the front. We do have copies there for you. We want to make sure you have that. I will share this. There's another one of his books that is an incredible book. This is just a personal, little book review. It's called The Gospel According to Satan. And if for no other reason, buy it, go to Starbucks and just lay it on the table in front of you. and watch people walk by and read, what is that guy reading? But it is, I think the rest of the title is something like 8 Lies that sound like God, but they're not. And so there are a number of books available that he has. They're on his website. I think it's jaredcwilson.com is the website. So you can go there. But you're going to be blessed with the message this evening. I know you will. And many of you already are aware of Jared and his ministry, and I thank you for being here for that. I think that's all, and then I get off stage here. So Bob Bumgarner is our lead missional strategist, and Bob has been a blessing to many pastors in the city and beyond for many years. And when God revealed to him what we already knew, that he would be our next lead missional strategist of the JBA, following the great work that Dr. Rick Wheeler did in that role, we prayed through that. And Bob answered the call, and I think it was about a month after that COVID hit. So you had a great year of leadership, but Bob offers much and as far as shepherding and leadership to our association. We are so thankful and blessed to have him here, not just here tonight, but here in our city, serving us as our lead missional strategist. So Bob, please come and share and lead us in prayer and introduce our worship team.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Expand Team, for making this evening possible. A few months after I arrived, COVID followed, and that was fun. And then the person that was responsible, Dr. Chris Bonts, for our church planting initiative, our Expand initiative, God sent him to another church in our association. And David and I had a conversation, and David was willing to not only step in, but step up and help during this transition. I am grateful for that. We want to make it abundantly clear to church planters, potential church planters' wives, legacy churches that are already involved in church planting, and those who will get involved in church planting. The Jacksonville Baptist Association is still committed to planting gospel-centered churches here in Jacksonville, Florida, and around the country. I say still because church planting was not my vision. I received it as a continued responsibility of the role of the lead missional strategist of JBA. But I want you to know that we're going to continue that initiative in ways that we hope are new, fresh, and helpful in post-pandemic ways. But that commitment must be more than just words. It must be something that's talked about, envisioned, funded, because we all know this: a vision without a strategy and a budget is a daydream. It's nice to talk about, but not believed to be real or possible. So I want us to believe something together. I want us to believe this sentence, that we can make it easier to plant gospel-centered churches anywhere and harder to do it alone. Here it is again. I want us to believe together that we can make it easier to plant gospel-centered churches anywhere and harder to do it alone. Let me share with you some of the things that we believe make it easier, and these are some of the commitments that JBA is going to make going forward. As you know, we sold our old office space, and we have some new office space, and there is room in the new space for 6 offices for church planters. So if you're a church planter and you need office space until, there's a spot for you. You can use our internet and printer and those kind of things. We're here to help you get your first website up and going, help you get your 501c3, all that complicated stuff behind you. There's local and contextualized cohort training, personalized coaching, customized demographic reports, and team development resourcing through experienced church planters. Here's the thing. If God has called you to plant a church in our city, we want you to be able to focus on reaching the people in your area and not having to figure out some of these things. So let us come along beside you and help that be our gift to you. Again, I want to thank David and the First Baptist Church Orange Park family and the Expand team for hosting us tonight. But it's my privilege to introduce the worship team tonight. And the worship team are people from my home church. They're people that I call friends. And you're in for a treat tonight, not because of their talent, but because of their heart. And one of the things that I want to say that this worship team and we all come from a church called Chetts Creek Church, and we are neck deep in church planting. We're committed to over a 20-year period to helping plant 32 churches across America through the Send North America initiative. And we're almost halfway there. And we're excited about that. It's refreshing our church. It's great to hear the reports from the field. And so they're going to come in just a minute. And here's my hope. My hope is, for whatever reason you came tonight, that Jared's message and the music will strengthen your soul for whatever God's calling you to do. So let me pray. Father, thank you for the opportunity today to voice this prayer. We thank you for your graciousness to us. We thank you for the gospel. We thank you that in the gospel we have hope that can unite divided families, divided cities, and a divided country. But Lord, we need your sovereign guidance as we try to listen and respond to what you're doing in our city. Would you give the church planters in this room confidence that you are in fact calling them to this field, or whatever field you're calling them to? God, I pray that you'll keep their wives and families encouraged through all the seasons of church planting. And Father, I pray that you will find those of us in ministry leadership in the Jacksonville Baptist Association faithful to living out the gospel personally, but also supporting wholeheartedly and radically generously those who are putting it on the line for their lost neighbors in difficult places to start churches. We're grateful for you, Father. Give us ears to hear what you would say to us this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.